So we talked about whether or not there's hype associated with 4D. Now let's talk about the reality. What does reality mean? Well, you know, that's pretty good there. Point number one, the quality or state of being actual or true. Or the fourth one there, that which exists objectively or in fact. So what is reality? Well, having been through this project, seeing the success, to see what was 4.5 weeks of work done in 72 hours, it's a certain reality that 4D increases certainty. It increases certainty in your manpower, it increases certainty in your materials, it increases certainty in your laydown, it increases certainty in your durations, it increases certainty in your sequencing. And there's a point here that's easy to miss, but it increases certainty when you have to make decisions in the field. Because the field engineers and the supervisors had been through this, when they had to make adjustments, and they did, as you always do on, you know, work that's as congested and as coordinated as this work, they had more confidence that they were making the right decision. Another reality, 4D decreases risk. As we worked through the Synchro models, and I showed them, this is kind of interesting. Our safety guys got more excited about the models than anybody else because they could now see where high-risk rigging evolutions were going to take place, where congestion should be monitored, managed, and for those of you who've been in an outage with a heavy safety emphasis, you know that one of your concerns can be, will we have safety stand downs? Will we have, you know, near misses, or will we have a risk situation that stops work? And so by engaging with our safety professionals, giving them the model, bringing them into the meetings, letting them take ownership, they were able to identify and communicate out. The other thing that happens is you get a lot of you know, kind of traveling safety professionals who don't know your plant, don't know your project, don't know your people, and their initial instinct is to stop work. Well, we were able to sit down with these people and say, here's what we're going to do. Here are the risks we've identified. Here's what we're doing to mitigate them. And then do you guys see anything else? Is there anything else we should do? Do you want to challenge it? So that all of those safety-related risk questions had been asked and answered before we started, not while we were stopping work with 20 guys in the field waiting for a supervisor to conclude a discussion. All right, sorry, I just paused. I was getting a little blinking button from the Citrix or GoToWebinar. Looks like we're all right here. And this is a good place to pause, because this last point of reality is not something that would have been in this presentation until the workforce showed up a couple of weeks before the outage. 4D creates belief. And if you're like me, you know, a little bit of a math guy, a little bit of a technology geek, what's Charlie talking about? 4D creates belief. Here's what I mean. So we had, you know, 24 welders show up. And traditionally, welders show up and they kind of, you know, are in that profile where they don't follow the schedule as it's given to them in a report. They're often not involved in the, you know, building the schedule process. During an outage, they're usually under the gun because things aren't going well and they're behind. So they came in and saw the durations on the schedule before they saw the 4D presentation, and I would hear rumblings. Oh man, there's no way. These times are too short. This isn't going to work. And then we had the support staff. So we had over 50 people in the room the first time we showed the crews that would be in the field. And also the support staff were FME, which is foreign material monitors, safety monitors, the riggers. Riggers had been involved and engaged a little more throughout the process. But here's a group, and you can kind of see, they don't like scheduled meetings. They're not engaged in scheduled meetings. Here's just another meeting they got through. And the worst thing was it was scheduled like 2 hours before quitting time on the last day of the week. So their minds are on, where am I headed after this gig? And one of our planners, another fellow named Ron, not the scheduler, but another Ron, he says, hey, you guys need to watch this. So this is not like a normal outage schedule. So these guys have been working on this for over a year, and what they're about to show you, this is going to work. And then we showed the Synchro video that I just showed a little bit earlier. And you could see eyes light up, minds engaged, guys ask questions. A fellow by the name of Joe came up to me afterwards and asked me for a copy of the video. He said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because now I see what they're talking about. He goes, yeah, I think we can do this work. So the 4D created belief in the crews that were going to do the work. Now, I want to address some hype that may still be out there and how it relates to our experience so far and using 4D as part of our project scheduling and management strategy. First hype is that 4D takes a long time. I think you remember the slide we talked about essentially in a week, we were done. If you have the right people, we all know that's a biggie. 4D doesn't have to take a long time. Another big emphasis there is figure out how you're going to do the 3D if at all possible. Get a good guy in-house. Hopefully, like us, you're starting to see a lot more vendors that produce 3D. Hopefully you're having better success than we are in getting our vendors to be willing to hand over that 3D. Which baffles me. We paid for it. You're creating it for us. It's ours. But still, it's a conversation you got to have. A lot of times, so far, we've not been successful in that conversation. The second point, 4D is expensive. And having watched this work, I would really argue strongly that the opposite is true. The most expensive decision you will make in a complicated, congested, or major project would be a decision to not invest in 4D. There's a project controls guy that we benchmarked with recently, and he uses the 110-1 rule. Something that he figures out is a problem in the field costs him $100. Something that he figures out is a problem in design costs him $10. Something figures out as a problem in engineering or planning, it's only $1. And 4D really gave us the ability to make those $1 discoveries and award those $100 discoveries in the field. And then this last point, which I really do emphasize too, is pure hype. 4D replaces traditional scheduling. It does not. A good, correctly sequenced, correctly resourced, Primavera schedule ready to load into your 4D tool. You have to have it. Now 4D will then enhance that, but by no means does 4D replace your traditional scheduling process. Here are just a few things that we are looking forward to as future application. One is getting 4D started earlier, because we were a year out. The work order tasks had already been written. One of our goals now is as early as possible, get to 3D, get a basic schedule, start up 4D, and work it all the way through cradle to grave. And then if you see a whole list there of reviews, the reviews that we do that will be enhanced or made better, more efficient, especially this walk down. We have to go out in the field, it's loud, people wearing headphones, earplugs, and you have to communicate. If you can bring up a 4D model and say, here's what the work we're going to do, here's what we're going to go look at, here's the measurements we need to take, here's whatever we have to eyeball. It's a much, much better process. Training, we have some other projects where we're going to be doing the same project over and over in multiple outages. So you build the 4D model once, and now as you bring in new people, it's easier to onboard them and train them. Forensics, what went wrong. Fortunately, in this case, we didn't have to do that. We knew that we pretty much executed the way we were confident we could. And then what I haven't done, but that I hope to do, is some visual earned value. And simply what I mean by that is, we also, just like we send out schedule reports, we send out earned value reports. A lot of times it's glazed eyeballs or misunderstanding. Nobody can misunderstand a video. So side-by-side video, here's what we said we would do yesterday, here's what we did. Based on the scope of work and how we staff for this, we didn't have the ability to do that. But in the future, that's something we plan to do.